Attention-starved Oklahoma brats actually filmed themselves bullying a 12-year-old gentle giant. Now, they face internet bullying themselves. Touché. I'm Dr. Duke, she's Katie, and this is The Dr. Duke Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Dr. Duke Show, the only program that keeps you educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. Happy Monday to all. Today, we're talking about a North Carolina teacher who shamed a special needs student on social media, plus a generous Florida man pays off a school's lunch debt, helping more than 400 students. But we are starting in Oklahoma, where the parents of a 12-year-old boy with special needs are begging their son's classmates to stop beating him up. This after video surfaced of the bullies kicking and punching the boy. Yes, this 12-year-old boy, who is a student in Yukon, Oklahoma, became a national celebrity after the videos of him being bullied became public. And it started a campaign of support for this boy. Outrage everywhere for Raiden Overbay, the victim. The parents of Raiden says he has faced bullying because of his special needs. Besides being on the autistic spectrum, he has ADHD, ODD, and ADD. Pretty amazing.
And so what's happening is these bullies who've been bullying for years, both his parents said that poor Raiden, he's a big kid. He's always been a big kid, and he's not going to hit back. So he just takes the beatings of these fellow classmates. And now that he's 12 and all these kids have their social media, the bullies decided it would be smart, because they're children, to videotape what they did to Raiden. And then that video leaked out. And now, as you say, the parents are out there saying, just please stop, hitting our son. Like, he's not doing anything to them. They just think that it's cool to hit a kid.
Whether it's my son, somebody else's son or daughter, it's got to stop.
Emotional moments for Danny and Scotland Overbay. Their 12-year-old special needs son, Raiden, a victim of bullying.
My son's as big as a horse, and he's as tough as an ox, but here he's not all there, but here he is.
Two incidents, both captured on video, first after school Thursday and again Friday in the school bathroom.
A few people decided to record it on video because they thought it was funny, is the only reason that I'm sitting in front of you today.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder a little bit. I mean, we keep hearing from these public schools how definitively they're spending time, money, and energy fighting bullying, right? But that seems to only apply to transgender kids or gay kids, kids of that particular perspective. Politically, doesn't seem to apply to girls who are upset about having to share a bathroom with boys. Certainly doesn't seem to apply to boys like Raiden here, who doesn't seem to fit any of the prescribed victim groups. And this has been going on for years and years and years, and you wonder where the schools have been with this.
And Scotland Overbay, who is Raiden's mother, she says she's actually personally witnessed this bullying happening all the way back to when he was 8, 9 years old. Kids would just walk up to him and just sucker punch him in the stomach, because again, he's a bigger kid, so that he just kind of outshone all of the rest of his peers. And she says she just wants it to stop. She started there's a social campaign out there under the hashtag Stand With Raiden. And she says, and the father even says, and he broke down on camera too, saying, it's not these kids. These kids don't, not that they don't know any better, but it's not the kids they're blaming. It's adults. What are you doing to combat this? School, what are you doing to stop it?
That's exactly right. I mean, again, it's unfortunate that Raiden doesn't seem to fit the kinds of profiles that we would have seen immediate action on. And, the shoes kind of got up on the other foot, though, because now that it's become a national story, these idiot kids filmed it. The national response has been pretty overwhelming. Some of these kids, these bullies, are actually receiving death threats. And I'll bet you any money that most of the people who are death threatening these bullies are themselves people who would say that they are 100% opposed to bullying, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, we're going to kill you, because this is the left's modus operandi, isn't it? We're going to kill you for doing that it's Antifa, right? We're going to fight fascism by being fascists. We're going to fight bullies by being bullies, right?
Yeah, well, I'll say it's on both sides. It lacks all common sense in this area.
Yeah.
But for anyone out there who does want to support Raiden and his family, they can contact, there's a nonprofit organization called Fight for the Forgotten. They were actually at the press conference, and they've talked to Raiden, because Raiden's made comments about how he doesn't want to be in this world anymore. So they've been being with him and talking to him and helping him get through this too.
Well, and with this witch's brew of problems that young boy faces, besides being on the autistic spectrum, he's got 3 or 4 other diagnosed problems. It makes you wonder, is he in the general population? Is there a special plan for him? Or are you just tossing these kids to the lions? That's another thing to wonder about.
Well, we have another story that involves a student with special needs. This time it's out of Mooresville, North Carolina. And even before school had been a couple weeks old, there was a teacher who had voluntarily resigned, quote, voluntarily resigned from her position at the Mooresville Graded Schools, again, in Mooresville, North Carolina. And this was because she was suspended, and she was suspended because she went on a rant on Instagram, again, the social media, to shame a student who had special needs because that student was in a wheelchair in the classroom, and you can see in the video the teacher's in front, and the teacher wasn't able to go on the field trip because she had to stay with the student. So check out the video that we have here.
This girl has not made a peep since we got into the classroom from the bus. Her unruly behavior was literally just to get out of the field trip. And now we both get to sit here and stare at each other for the next 3 hours while the class is gone. So, happy freaking Wednesday.
Yeah, and the thing that gets me about this is, again, social media, right? And the social media angle of this, because we all have our immediate reaction to something that we don't like or something that causes us grief or something that aggravates us to no end. Our immediate response is to lash out. And it's taken thousands of years of human civilization to try to push and repress that first step, right? The old count to 10, right? The old type out your email and then delete it before you send it, right? Yeah. And now with things like Instagram, social media, and all the viralness that comes from being able to get immediately your gripe or your grudge out there, it's a real toxic combination here. And this is particularly kind of vile, right?
I mean, she says, happy freaking Wednesday. Oh, the poor thing. She had to get paid to do her job, to sit in a classroom, and she's so upset she couldn't go on this field trip. And the fact that later in her Instagram, she wrote on there, be a teacher, they said. It will be fun, they said. Apparently, right. she just thinks everything is rainbows and unicorns.
I think you and I can speak to this, too. How many kids that become education majors are either education majors because they failed out of everything else? I mean, it's almost literally impossible. It is the most foolproof, fail-proof major. If you have even a pulse, right, you're a warm body, and you can nod and smile when they give you the same multicultural program 8 times in a row, then you can make it, right? I mean, it doesn't take much. You and I personally know people who've gone through the education program who have no business being around kids who find teaching jobs because it's just where we are right now.
That is exactly where we are right now. But of course, we must get the response of the administration.
Oh, yes.
Chief Communication Officer Tanae Sump McLean said, by law, the school board cannot comment on any specific employee matters. However, it is important for parents in the community to understand that any time a question arises regarding the conduct of a school employee specific to their job, the superintendent and school administrators work diligently to ensure the best possible outcome for our students, of course.
And let me throw this out there. I get that there are hardworking, underpaid teachers, but they are not the majority. I'm going to say that again. They are not the majority. Increasingly now that you're bringing up these kids that have no business teaching through the ranks because there are too few teachers, the education departments that teach kids how to teach are utterly and thoroughly politicized. Excellence and commitment are not the main reasons that we pick teachers. It has everything else to do with not being able to do other things and almost guaranteed employment in this culture. Then you think about what's happening in Chicago, where the Chicago inner city schools, one of the worst school systems in the country, they're striking again during the middle of a school year. The half-wits at Saturday Night Live think it's a good thing to support them on national TV. You've abandoned America. You can't tell us you care about America's kids by walking out on them. You just can't. And by the way, Chicago teachers make a lot of money vis-a-vis teachers here in Wisconsin or Nebraska. So this idea already that we've got to break this argument. The best teachers deserve everything you give them. Find a way to single them out and reward them. The rest, too much politics, too much selfishness, this idea that I became a teacher because it's supposed to be fun, right? That all the fun the kids are having, I'm going to have too. And when you encounter these kinds of issues, and I wonder, go back to the story in Oklahoma, I wonder how many of these young teachers facilitate his Raiden's abuse by just not wanting to have to deal with him in his special needs set. And why, as I said before, is Raiden in classrooms with kids like that?
Well, and both these stories tie in very succinctly because it's talking about what it is like to be out in the perception of what it is to be a teacher and what you're supposed to be doing on social media and getting this gratification and all these things that get put into one. And it's just a reflection then of the general society of how we act.
Well, it is, but to stick on the school, you're exactly right. And I think we get the schools that our culture asks for.
Yeah.
But what troubles me about this, it's not just the teachers, it's this perception that we've heard time and time again. Most American moms and dads know the schools aren't working, the public schools, but you always hear, not my school.
No, not in my school. Absolutely not mine.
I sit in church next to my kid's third grade teacher. And so this would never happen with me. It is time to stop dealing with the individual and start looking at the institution here. Take a look at these institutions. Even good people isn't this a hallmark of the left? Even good people in corrupt institutions get corrupted. That's a very left-wing observation, except when it happens to left-wing institutions.
And
right?
then it's fine.
Then the corruption is actually social justice.
All right, well, after those two stories, I need a little positivity in my life. So we have Florida man, and for once, this story is not going to begin with a crazy Florida man.
He has his own meme now.
Well, a Florida man decided, you know what, he's going to pay off some school lunch debt for his local school district. This is happening in Palm Beach County. The man's name is Andrew Levy, and he learned that more than 400 students in the Jupiter Community Schools were not able to get a full lunch because they had this outstanding debt. And he just decided, you know what, I'm going to do something. He found out that the debt was $944.34, and so he paid it off.
These children that were in debt were going to either not eat or, they would get just cheese sandwiches. And I thought, that's crazy. Food is something that you shouldn't have to think about. Children shouldn't have to learn hungry.
What I find really cool about this story is it's a true case of, the word is charity, because this man does not have any kids in the district. He just moved to South Florida like 5 years ago, and he has no agenda. He just heard about this. He said, you know what, kids should be able to have a full lunch. And he said, I'm going to donate this money. He actually said, food is something that you shouldn't have to think about. They shouldn't have to learn hungry. So he said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And he posted about it on Facebook. That's how everyone kind of found out. And then hundreds of other people have asked him, he's in real estate, like how they can help and how they can contribute. And so he says there's going to be a quarterly kind of GoFundMe page set up. Now, moving forward, that could end up not being good, but for this initial instance to pay it off,
I've always admired your instincts in the sense that you want to see the best in people.
But I
can't share them.
Where it can
and
go.
I go back again and I say, with all the money we're dumping into these ridiculous public schools, all the money for everything that has nothing to do with classroom education, everything we're spending money on, right? As we're going to see in tomorrow's show, all this money we're spending on tearing down locker rooms and building gender neutral ones, all the money we're committing to sports and extracurricular activities, all the money we're spending on teacher raises, and it goes on and on and on and on, right? And with all that state and federal, local money, why does it take a nice guy to actually make sure the kids get fed? And if we're donating money to the schools, why aren't we actually, he at one point this man says, kids shouldn't have to learn when they're hungry. I agree, but they should learn. Hungry or not, they should learn. You can feed them all you want, they're still not learning anything. And so the whole system is screwy here, and as much as I admire this guy for doing this, I mean, what if we did GoFundMe pages for better math instruction, or GoFundMe pages to let's teach kids how to read after sitting in school for 12 years? How about that?
That would be kind of nice. Well, you can start it up then.
There you go.
How about it? All right, well, that's going to close out our Monday. As always, please share the episode and subscribe to the free audio podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and everywhere else. Just visit drdukeshow.com and click on any of the platforms on the top to subscribe.
And that does it for us today. If you like the show, do please consider supporting it by signing up for the Patriot Club. For just $25 a month, you get to be a Patriot, and we'll send you stuff too. Visit thedrdukeshow.com to get started. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time with an always entertaining, never disappointing Dr. Duke Show. For Freedom Project, I'm Duke, she's Katie. And until tomorrow, stay educated, my friends.